Hello there. You're welcome to the only show that projects events in Ghana's diplomatic circles and the rest of the world. Diplomatic Affairs. We are on your screens every Saturday on Pan-African television between the hours of 4 to 5 o'clock p.m. and we are very active on social media, Facebook and YouTube, and in some parts of Europe and of course in over 40 African countries on the back of Pan-Africanism. My name is Harriet Nate. This week, we've collected all the stories like we do. It's been very eventful in the diplomatic community here in Ghana, and we are ready to share all the stories with you. So I will start by taking you all the way to Cuba. It's been great. It was full of emotions, and it was such a beautiful ceremony. The President of the Republic of Cuba, by presidential decree, has conferred the Medal of Friendship on former Ghana's ambassador to Cuba, Kojo Amo Godfred. The recognition is in support of the Cuban government and its people during the era of revolution. The former ambassador, during his tenure as ambassador, participated in the 18th United Nations Peace Seminar on Palestine held at the Convention Palace in Havana, that is the capital of Cuba. He was also the executor of the famous scholarship program between Ghana and Cuba. This was done during regimes of President Fidel Castro and Jerry John Rawlings. Let me take you all the way to the residence of the ambassador of Cuba right here in Ghana, Her Excellency Annette Chao Garcia.
As we learn the link of this guy, because he's a very young man, as we learn his link with Cuba began with many friends in the 60s. Some of them, Pablo Armando, and also Entralgo, one of our ambassadors here in Ghana, with Jorge Risquet, fighters, and he developed a wonderful relationship with Cuba. Like, he met our commander-in-chief, Fidel Castro, many times, and our commander-in-chief had a very good opinion about him, and I think, you know, when you meet big men like him, it is important then to what they think about you, because all of us, we know them and then we talk about them, but he had a very good opinion about you. And also this very young guy, he was the executor of a program that, as I told a few days ago in an event we got, it is the most important part of the relation between Cuba and Ghana. And it was the program to educate the children from Ghana in Cuba. And he did it. He followed the instructions of Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, and Fidel Castro also there in Cuba. Then for us, we are very, very proud of the relationship with you. We appreciate all that you did for us. We appreciate that you stood with Cuba in many battles, for example, against the blockade. All time that you did many things for us against the blockade. And then, dear Amo Godfred, you are an example of diplomat. You are an example of person. You are a great friend. That's why, by Presidential Decree 490, our President, Miguel Mario Díaz-Canel Bermúdez, decided to give you the award Medal of Friendship. Let us the opportunity to read this presidential decree.
That in exercise of the authority vested in me by Article 128, paragraph R of the Constitution of the Republic of Cuba, I have considered the following. Whereas Decree Law Number 30 of December 10, 1979 establishes the Friendship Medal for foreign citizens, organizations or institutions that individually or collectively stand out for their activities aimed at building a more just society and strengthening the bonds of fraternal friendship, cooperation, and mutual aid among peoples. Whereas the President of the Cuban Institute for Friendship with the Peoples has proposed to award the aforementioned medal to a group of recognized friends of Cuba, members of the Solidarity Movement, in appreciation of their support and dedication to strengthening and deepening the relations with our people, as well as for the outstanding participation in campaigns in defense of the revolution and denouncing the aggressions against Cuba. Wherefore, by virtue of the foregoing grounds and pursuant to Article 128, paragraph N of the Constitution of the Republic of Cuba, I have decided to issue the following Presidential Decree number 409. First, to award the Medal of Friendship to Kojo Owushu Guamuda Amo Gofri. Second, the President of the Cuban Institute for Friendship with the Peoples is hereby instructed with the task of awarding the Friendship Medal to the honoree, to be published in the official Gazette of the Republic of Cuba, given in the Palace of the Revolution on the 13th of April, 2022, year 64 of the Revolution.
First and foremost, I must say I don't have the words to describe how I feel today. All these comrades, friends, relations who've gathered here to join me in receiving this award, which I think is fantastic. And I share the awards with all of them who've come here. Thank you, Cuba, for this Friendship Award. Cuba has always been a country which I've loved and which really, wherever I had the opportunity, I will try and push in something to the support of Cuba. I will start with one point. When we heard of the attack on Moncada and these gracious people who had gone together to overturn the Batista regime, those of us who knew Cuba as a small country which had such revolutionary zeal were so delighted that this attack has been made. I happened at that time to so mix up with people on the international world, the IUS, the World Federation of Democratic Youth. We acted in a number of ways. So Cuba for me was always a country which I really respected. And if there was anything we can do, or I can do, we will do so. Now, when Cuba got its independence from the regime which has been oppressing people, I remember there was the World Youth Forum in Vienna, which I attended. Many people attended from all over, those who were supporting fight against imperialism and colonialism and so on. And when we were there, the song which we learned was beautiful and still, one thinks of it. It says, Cuba C, Yankee no, Cuba C, Yankee no. And at the festival in Vienna, everybody was saying this. It was a very good thing for us to all know that here's a small country defying imperialism and trying to do things for its own country. I don't want to speak too much because what they've done, words are not enough. President Fidel Castro did something which for me, I thought that our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who wanted unity of Africa, Cuba did something which for me was unique. The day that they formed the Isle of Youth School, that we formed the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial School was there, was something to me that this is a country which has ideas, a country which is the one can follow and so on. So for me, anything to do with Cuba, I was there to do my bit.
Well, comrades gathered here, the mic is now, or the floor is now open for comments from friends, comrades who are gathered here to honor His Excellency Amogofu.
Okay, so away from Cuba, let's go all the way to the residence of the ambassador of France right here in Ghana. And this time we are focusing on the business community. Now, the French business community in Ghana has held a business networking cocktail event to discuss new ways of harnessing and improving upon the business relations between French businesses right here in Ghana and, of course, their counterparts. Now, in his speech, the ambassador of France to Ghana, His Excellency Jules Amand Enyambusu, said there is a need for new partnerships based on relationships. He further underscored the importance of forming partnerships without sentiments and emotions. Now, I also had the opportunity to speak with the head of the economic department of French Embassy of France right here in Ghana, and also the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce Industry France Ghana, and they gave us more insights into exactly why there is the need for them to carry this event, especially at this time.
Talk about equality, reciprocity, and mutual respect, equality and reciprocity. The Africans, they also have to believe in it. Because sometimes, when I'm interacting with some African, young, not young, etc., some of them, they say, no, that is impossible. You are too strong. We are small. Non, c'est pas vrai. C'est d'abord dans la tête. So, this ambition, since 6 years now, is not only a dream. It's doable. But to be doable, we need, from the both sides, to take our part of the responsibility. New partnership based on co-construct relationship, focus on civil society, youth, and entrepreneurship. Les entrepreneurs, la création de richesse. Even if the recent crisis in certain West and Central African country, clash somehow with this new approach. They also show that we can't continue do business as usual. On ne peut pas continuer. Donc, il faut qu'on change. It's why a country like Ghana, France really want to strengthen our relationship in different sectors. When our leaders they met, when they send letter to each other, it is clearly the ambition and the purpose. But to implement it, we need all of you. All of you. In this regard, it's appropriate to keep in mind France's new strategic approach. I was talking about in French, I'll translate it in English. Transactional way. We don't need emotion. In privacy, we can talk about emotion, but by working, by doing business, no emotion. In the mutual interest and the win-win logic. We need to move away from emotion and sentiment toward business. And the main sectors I would like you and us to focus on, in particular, sustainable and intelligent city in all its aspects. You know, these aspects are diverse: infrastructure, port, logistics, art of living, tourism, human capital, public health, etc. Agriculture and agricultural processing. Renewable energies, n'est-ce pas, Total Energy? Il faut faire du renouvelable. Hein? Innovation and technology.
Hello there, you're welcome to the only show that brings you happenings in the world of diplomacy and international relations, diplomatic affairs on Pan-African television. We are in over 40 African countries and we are very active on social media, Facebook and YouTube, and also in some parts of Europe. I remember the last time I was watching from France. Yeah, very interesting, right? Right, so we are at the residence of the Ambassador of France to Ghana, His Excellency Jules Amanda Anyambusu, and we are going to be discussing French business community gathered here this evening. I have with me here Jean-Noel. Did I get your name right?
Yes.
Jean-Noel is in charge of the economic department of the French embassy, and he will be telling us a bit about tonight's gathering, because I will be doing a lot of follow-up questions just to know the way forward, where we are now, and how we can together, when I say together, both countries can work together to ensure that we bring our economy back to life. You're welcome to Diplomatic Cafes.
Thank you very much for having me.
Right, so you are in charge of the French Economic Department right here at the embassy.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure meeting you once again. So I want to believe that surveying Ghana's economic space or environment is one of your key duties in the country.
So I am in charge of, analyzing the economic and financial situation here in Ghana and to try to attract French investment, to attract French companies to come over in Ghana and to help Ghana to recover after this crisis. So it's the main part of my job, and I used to work with different actors. So the French Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
The name is exactly the Chamber of Commerce France Ghana.
Okay.
And other actor like the a French Agency for Development, and of course another group which is very, very important is a French Trade Advisor. They are executive or CEOs or manager director working in French companies here in Ghana.
And I know that the French business community is huge.
Yes, the French companies are very, very committed in Ghanaian economy. around 70 French companies have invested in Ghana since a long time, and in a very various sectors, you know. I mean, energy, agribusiness, transportation, automotive, health, catering, logistic, banking, insurances. So this investment, these companies, they represent more than $2 billion injected in Ghanaian economy since the beginning. And in terms of employment, it's very important, as you can imagine, because these companies, they have created 14,000 direct jobs for Ghanaian people, and around 60,000 indirect jobs, yes, for Ghanaian people. So the footprint is very huge. The footprint is very important, and I would add to that despite the crisis, economic and financial crisis, which have been very, very strong, particularly last year, I didn't see any company leaving the country. You know, they stay. They are in a sort of attitude of awareness, you know, and particularly this year, but as well next year, to make some decision to reinvest or to leave the country. I don't know. They are going to leave the country because they trust the country, they trust in the stability of the country. It's a very, very important aspect of, you know, the mindset of an international company which wants to invest or settle in a country.
How long have you been in the country?
Just a little bit more, 1 year.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes,
You don't
just
need...
at the beginning of the crisis.
Wonderful,
You know?
wonderful. I asked because even if you had gotten here a day before yesterday or yesterday, there is data to give you all the information you need. Basically, so you don't have to be here for so many years.
I know the data.
Exactly,
I know the
that's
data,
why I asked. But like we have established already, the trade and investments relationship between France and Ghana have been key when it comes to Ghana's developmental agenda goals. You create employment, you bring in people, you have businesses in all facets of our economy.
Absolutely.
So in this case, if we have businesses now rethinking their decision and having to exit because maybe some policies are not suitable to their businesses, it means that Ghana is at the verge of collapse economically, because we cannot take for granted the role of the French government or French businesses when it comes to Ghana's economic, you know, aspirations. What is the way forward? How do we do this?
I think that, you know, the private sector is, and the French private sector committed in Ghana is probably is playing probably a key role in the Ghanaian economy, you know, to recover. Because I used to say it takes two to tango.
Right.
You know, and often more than two. I mean, you know, the governmental policies are very important to ease the business climate. The private sector is very important as well, but you know, the ways, the stability of the country, politically, economically, the stability of the business environment is very important as well. Fiscality,
Right.
for example, clarity, or you know, of the process to invest in this country. So I think that the more the business climate is friendly, the more the investor will regain confidence in Ghana. And it's a very, very important point, particularly after such a crisis.
What is the way forward? What do we do to keep these businesses in the country? Finally.
I think that maybe there is a way of progress to ease the climate business. Yes, to ease, you know, to make the country more attractive for the foreign direct investment, French but international investment.
Are we talking about tax exemptions,
Not
incentives?
tax exemptions,
Exactly
the
what?
stability, the predictability
All right.
of the business environment is very important from, you get and you have since a long time the political stability. But I think that the predictability of the business environment, the stability of the law, of the regulation, of the fiscality, of the custom duties, for example, are out as well as important than the political stability. So as you know, it's just a mix. So you get the one part, and you have probably to ease the second part to attract new investment in Ghana for the sake of Ghana, for the good cause of Ghana.
All right. Thank you so much, Jean-Noel.
Thank you.
Well, we are still continuing with our conversation, and I told you we are the residents of the Ambassador of France right here in Ghana, His Excellency Jules Amanda Nyambusu, and we are talking about the Ghana's business environment with a focus on the French business community right here in Ghana. We are looking at how together at the government level, both leaders can come together and create a more stable environment for the businesses coming from all over the world, be it France, Germany, everywhere, to be able to thrive and of course help us achieve our developmental goals or agenda at the end of the day. Next to join me on the show is Mr. Sekou Coulibaly.
I'm the chairman of the board
Okay.
of the Chamber of Commerce and Industries of France and Ghana.
And Ghana. So
Not just French companies,
so
France, Ghana,
Okay,
yes.
and Ghana. All right. Now there you have it. So we're still going about our conversation, and
Yes.
the focus on today's episode of Diplomatic Affairs is Ghana's business climate, and we are talking about this with the French business. Let's talk about your office, for instance. Mainly, you superintend over French businesses and Ghanaian businesses here that are collaborating together or that have some form of partnership.
Let me maybe give a context. So the Chamber of Commerce and Industries of France Ghana, summarized as CCIFG.
Right.
Basically, the mandate is to build commerce between France and Ghanaian companies, driving French export to Ghana, but also Ghanaian export to France, Ghanaian exports to the rest of the ECOWAS countries,
Right.
and potentially some of the French companies in ECOWAS into Ghana.
Right.
So the idea is actually to create a mutually beneficial commercial relationship between all the entities, break barriers. We believe Ghana is surrounded by French countries for the most part. We think it's a missed opportunity for Ghanaian companies to not be multinational in the region, breaking the barrier and not just think about Europe and the US when there are so many opportunities. And in that same retrospect, we think there are opportunities for companies, French companies or indigenous companies in Ivory Coast, in Burkina, in Togo, to actually look at Ghana as an opportunity. There are a lot of synergies that we have in ECOWAS that we actually don't take advantage of. And beyond that, I think one of the comments that was given today is to go beyond the colonial past and to break the language barrier. So there are a lot of French companies that attack or seek an interest in French-speaking market and don't necessarily consider Ghana because of the language barrier.
Right.
We want them to come and invest in Ghana, And so this is where the French Chamber of Commerce help. We facilitate the integration of Ghanaian companies in France, if necessary, or we put them in relationship with the right authorities in the ECOWAS region where we have our counterpart, either of a Chamber of Commerce from France or Business France, because we represent an entity called Business France in Ghana as well. And we also seek to attract French investment into Ghana by putting them into relationship with the right key stakeholders and letting them know how interesting the Ghanaian market, how lucrative it could be for them.
Now, having put that into context, I would want us to look at the current situation. And what do I mean by the current situation? I'm talking about the frustrations expressed by business and businesses here in the country looking at where our economy is. When I say our economy, I am referring to Ghana. And it appears it is not only an issue with Ghana. There seems to be a global challenge when it comes to economies all over the world. And Ghana is also battling its own problems in terms of the economy being in tatters as we are experiencing right now. Now, businesses from all angles are currently going through that crisis as well. How are you able to still convince people and put in place measures that would be much more attractive for them to choose you over others? How do you do that?
When you mean us over others, you mean us as a market?
As a market.
As a market?
Right, as a
okay, or
market.
as a chamber. For us, it's actually in period of challenges that businesses are forced to seek opportunities and to come out of their comfort zone. This context of crisis is very frustrating. I'm the president of the board. We have a managing director who actually manage the operational activity. I'm an entrepreneur who's into textiles. So I've been subject to the difficulty of the environment like most of our members. However, the opportunity actually came in the sense that most Ghanaian companies were forced to look at opportunities in the region beyond what they tend to look at before. And so that I think was something that was quite interesting. The French companies as well, who used to be comfortable in the French-speaking market, are seeking a lot more competition from other international players, are now also looking at international partners beyond the colonial background. So Ghana, Nigeria are some of the countries that they're also looking at. So it's a huge opportunity for Ghana. So I think really in period of crisis you have opportunities. And this is where the Chamber of Commerce comes. You know, for Ghanaian companies who have never gone to France, you know, we can put them in relationship with the right counterpart. We can facilitate their entry level by partnering with the right institution, either with the French embassy. If sometime they require financing and they're eligible, we put them in touch with the right French institution, whether AFD, Proparco, or BPI France. And same thing for the French companies who seek an opportunity into Ghana. We collaborate with the local authorities to make sure that they can seek opportunities in Ghana.
Right. Let's talk about how much we are missing out on when it comes to the language barrier.
Yeah,
and I'm talking about both countries,
Definitely.
France and Ghana.
Definitely.
Both of us are losing.
Definitely.
How much opportunities are we losing when it comes to the difficulty in language?
No, I think when it comes to language barrier, I think the biggest opportunity is for Ghanaian companies because English is a globally spoken language. Everybody has to speak English. And I believe that Ghanaian companies who actually were to break that language barrier will be so strong in the region because there's so much competence in Ghana. The literacy rate is very high. You know, the education system is strong. The business environment is very competitive. So a Ghanaian that speak French is a star in West Africa, you know? And the market are not that different most of the time beyond the currencies. Culturally, you know, we have very similar ethnic groups across the region between Ivory Coast, Togo, and Burkina. So there are a lot of opportunities for Ghanaian companies outside if they were to speak French. Good thing for them. In some of the market, people speak English, you know, but I think the effort tends more toward them to speak French. And this is where we have l'Alliance Française, which chairman is Malia Babio, who actually is an opportunity for a lot of Ghanaian companies to send their employees, their personal, etc. You know, and the French embassy is quite keen, and the French Chamber of Commerce is quite keen to actually organize that type of program. Yeah.
Taking into consideration the current situation when it comes to Ghana's economy, for instance, what are some of the measures that you have introduced to continue to lure businesses into your chamber?
Very good question. I think in this challenging environment, when we started the year, we realized that not every company could pay their membership. So we had to be a lot more aggressive at adding value to our members. One of the issues that they had was access to the French market, not just in understanding it, but in traveling. The visa issue has been a huge trouble for most of our members, and this is something that we're working closely with the French Embassy on to make sure we fast track the process. We also are able to create a VVIP processes for Ghanaian key stakeholders that actually, will be amazing investors in France, for example, who sometimes we feel are not given the red carpet that they deserve, they should have. That is one part. The other part will be the facilitation, the introduction with the right French authorities. That's a second part. Third part is market information and opening not just France, but the other West African countries. There is a good network of French Chamber of Commerce, and sometimes we hear that there is lack of knowledge in Ivory Coast, but in Ivory Coast, we have our counterpart that can set up a couple of meetings, depending on the sectors that you are in, for you to go and to see if there is a market opportunity for you. So that's something that we're doing as well. We're also trying to build a lot more networking events with the business community so that people get to know a little bit more about us, and we're trying to be more customer friendly. I think sometimes the French have this image of sometimes being arrogant.
Right.
We're trying to actually, show that we're here to serve and here to, unblock problems for our members.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for talking
my
to
pleasure.
us.
My
It's
pleasure.
always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Interacting with you.
Same here.
Right. So I have been speaking with Mr. Sekou Coulibaly, and he is the chairman for the Chamber of Commerce and Industry France and Ghana.
Yes.
Did I get it right?
Perfect.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for
My
your
pleasure.
time. Okay, let's go to Korea, the residence of the Korean ambassador right here in Accra. Now, October 3rd every year is Korea's National Foundation Day, and Diplomatic Affairs was extended the courtesy to provide media coverage. So we were there to make sure that we captured this all-important events. Now, the Republic of Korea has marked the National Day, its National Day in Accra. October 3rd every year marks the National Foundation Day of Korea. Now, speaking at the 4,355th anniversary, then Korean ambassador commended the government of Ghana for the swift security surveillance at the Gulf of Guinea, which has enhanced trade relations between Korea and Ghana. He also reiterated Korea's continuous support to Ghana in diverse ways. Like I said, relations between these two countries are quite huge and of mutual interest. The Minister of State Enterprises, Joseph Kujo, also enumerated diplomatic ties between the two countries and called on the Korean business to consider Ghana as a business destination when investing in Africa.
Another aspect that indicates the flourishing relationship between Korea and Ghana is economic cooperation. Korean companies have engaged in various businesses in Ghana. In particular, in the automotive industry, Kia Motors and Hyundai Motors built assembly plants here in Ghana and have produced assembled in Ghana vehicles. His Excellency the President Akufo-Addo personally commissioned the Kia assembly plant last May, and said at the commissioning ceremony, Kia assembly plant has reconfirmed the friendly relationship between the two countries. Moreover, in our belief in Ghana's commitment to become a regional economic hub for the entire African continent, we made financial contribution of $2 million this year to the work of AFC-FTA. I believe this contribution will facilitate the swift implementation of the AFC-FTA agreement and help the African people realize their dream of a common market by the year 2063. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Ghanaian government, especially His Excellency President Akufo-Addo and Rear Admiral Issa Adam Yakubu, Chief of Naval Staff, for their continued commitment to and support for the safety and security of the Gulf of Guinea. You may be aware, many Korean nationals living in Ghana have long engaged in the fishery sector. Piracy and armed robbery in the Gulf of Guinea have been one of the major concerns, and Korean ships and seafarers had frequently suffered from attacks and kidnappings of pirates. However, since October 2021, no Korean nationals and fishing companies have been victims of such attacks or kidnappings.
On behalf of the government and people of Ghana, express gratitude for the invaluable support and technical assistance the government of Korea continues to provide to Ghana through the Korean International Cooperation Agency, KOICA, the Korea Trade Investment Promotion Agency, KOTRA, the Korean Foundation for International Healthcare, Korea Exim, and the Korea Program for International Cooperation in Agri-Technology, as well as the various bilateral and multilateral programs in areas such as human resource development, fisheries, agriculture, transport, capacity building in terms of scholarships for Ghanaian students, and funding of projects in sectors including energy, health, agriculture, water, and sanitation.
Right, still on National Days, let's end it or climax today's episode with Spain, the National Day of Spain, right? So Spain's National Day celebrates Christopher Columbus's arrival in the United States of America. It is one of the biggest celebrations when it comes to Spain. And of course, we were there being friends with the Embassy of Spain right here in Ghana. The bilateral relations between the two countries spans from trade to culture to soccer collaborations, you name it. We're there to capture all this important occasion, which saw the support of the diplomatic community, government officials, people who do business with the Spanish embassy right here in the country, you know, friends of the mission, the media, everybody was there. Again, let's usher you there at the residence of the ambassador in Ghana.
Spain is fully committed to peace in the Middle East. Spain and Ghana are working to create growth and address global and regional challenges. In February, during our political consultations, we set an ambitious agenda for partnership in areas like migration, investments, culture, tourism, sports, and security. Moreover, women empowerment is a cross-cutting priority of our action. During our presidency of the European Union Council, we're paying special attention to Africa. Inter alia, we will be organizing a high-level meeting on transformative investments. We also hope to see progress towards an EU-Ghana investment facilitation agreement. In our new cooperation law, we have committed to 0.7% of gross national income for development assistance. This offers good opportunities for projects in Ghana. Moreover, the mainly EU Spain-funded program Interreg MAC, with 200 million euros for the period 2021 to 2027, will greatly benefit Ghana, especially in the green economy and competitiveness fields. We share your concern regarding terrorism. We are cooperating closely with your security forces. In June, we also had the honor of receiving President Akufo-Addo in Spain at the International Conference on Terrorism in Sahel and West Africa, where he met King Felipe. This was an excellent opportunity to strengthen our partnership, which has also made remarkable progress in the domain of defense. Our commercial relations are strong. In 2022, we reached a record bilateral trade of more than 500 million euros. I'm delighted at the prospect that ambitious investments in sectors like food production could soon materialize and contribute to job creation. I want to acknowledge the role played by the Spain-Ghana Chamber of Commerce at the promotion of exchanges. Finally, I wish to highlight the important work done by our lecturers at the universities of Ghana and Kumasi to satisfy the increasing demand for the Spanish language, and also the fact that more and more Ghanaian students are benefiting from our scholarships. Cultural diplomacy brings our two societies closer and consolidates our partnership. Let me conclude by expressing our gratitude to our sponsors, Spain-Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Prestige, Nguni, Butcher Boys, GB Foods, Comet, Wacom Mini Plus, Coca-Cola, Globe Productions, Uncle T, and Belacqua for their generous contribution. My deepest gratitude to the staff of the embassy for their excellent work. And also a special gratitude to my wife, Rebecca. Without our spouses, we will not achieve most of the things we do. May I now propose a toast to the well-being of the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to the people of Ghana, and to the strong relations and cooperation between the Republic of Ghana and the Kingdom of Spain.
The day does not only mark a significant milestone in Spain's history, but also underscores the heights of bilateral relations that flourish between our two nations. Since November 1967, Ghana and Spain have forged solid partnership across various sectors, creating a cooperation that reflects our shared commitment to progress, development, and mutual understanding. The foundation of our relationship has been built on the pillars of respect, trust, and a shared vision for a better global economy. Excellencies, distinguished guests, the cooperation between our two countries extends across a broad range of areas, where both nations have reaped substantial benefits. The realms of trade and commerce have witnessed the fruits of our collaboration, with exports and imports between our countries contributing significantly to our respective economies. The exchange of expertise in sectors such as agriculture, technology, and renewable energy has also propelled our two countries towards sustainable development and addressing challenges such as food security and climate change. On the political front, various high-level visits and historical correspondence have solidified our partnership. The visits of Ghanaian dignitaries to Spain and vice versa have served as a testament to our commitment to nurturing the bonds that unite us together. These interactions have not only deepened our diplomatic ties, have facilitated sharing of best practices and exploitation of new avenues for cooperation. Excellencies, distinguished guests, our economic relations remain strong, and Ghana is closely attracting more attention from Spanish companies, encouraged by Ghana's peace and political stability. I wish to take this opportunity to invite Spanish businesses to partner with our Ghanaian counterparts to take advantage of the immense opportunity offered by the African Continental Free Trade Area to expand the scope of their businesses and launch into the African market.
Right, all too soon. This is where we bring an end to today's production as we summarize all the events or collected all the activities from Ghana's diplomatic circles and presented them to you. I hope you have been well informed, as always, educated, and of course entertained at the same time. It's such a pleasure always coming your way, and we are super grateful to you for your time. It's been another great edition of the only show that brings you happenings in the world of diplomacy and international relations, Diplomatic Affairs. My name is Harriet Nate, and I look forward to seeing you same time next week. Enjoy the rest of our programs.